Shalom! Today we will be reading Little Sheep by Sharman Castillo, which is out of the book Wild Stories Volume 1, copyright 2007. Chapter 1, Little Sheep and Bigger Sheep. Once upon a time, long ago, in a beautiful valley with a lovely lake and rolling hills, there lived a little sheep. There were thousands of other little sheep like her as well. They lived happily with their shepherd, who took care of them and saw that they were fed and watered daily, and also who made sure that all of their needs were met. The little sheep were allowed to play and have fun. Quite simply, they just enjoyed life. They never had to fear because their shepherd was mighty and strong and was faithful to take care of them. The only thing the shepherd told them to do was to be very wary of the big bad wolf on the other side of the fence. You see, there was a white fence that went all around their land so that they were protected from the big bad wolf. The wolf was much too afraid of their shepherd to come across the fence in order to try and get one of the little sheep. So the little sheep obeyed and did as their shepherd told them to do because they loved him with all their hearts and they knew that he loved them. He was a good shepherd, and he was so kind. They could always go to him when they were feeling down or hurt because he would listen and he would heal them. He always went out of his way to make sure that they felt better. He was a good shepherd. One day, the little sheep were all playing games in different groups. Some played race games, some played hopscotch, and still others played kickball. In the kickball group, they were having so much fun running after the ball. Yellow sheep rolled the ball to blue sheep, who in turn kicked the ball so hard it rolled all the way down the hill to the white fence. Little sheep ran with all her heart, laughing as she went to get the ball. As she neared the white fence, she slowed down because she saw a big red sheep that she had never seen before. The big red sheep was holding the kickball and smiling kindly at Little Sheep, so she went closer and smiled also. "Are you looking for this ball?" asked the big red sheep. "Why, yes, I am," said Little Sheep. "Well, here you go. I have been watching you play, along with your fellow sheep out there, and thought to myself, my, you could be having so much more fun if you would only come over here on this side of the fence." "Oh no, Red Sheep. Our shepherd told us to never go over there on that side of the fence, for there is danger." But the big red sheep laughed and said, little sheep, do I appear to be in any danger? No, of course not. Your shepherd just does not want you to know that the grass is greener over here on this side of the fence. I tell you it is too. I can show you things you have never seen before, and I can give you things you have never had. You can have your own meadow and your own barn. You could possibly even shepherd your own little sheep. You do not have to share with anyone. Come and let me show you.
I don't know.
Little Sheep started to think how much fun it would be to be her own shepherd. Maybe she could have her own little sheep and care for them herself. Just then, she heard her shepherd say, little sheep, where are you? Little sheep, come here, my love." But the big red sheep said, "Hurry, little sheep, hurry, or you will never get the chance to see all I have that I can give to you." So Little Sheep hurried across the fence right before her shepherd came within sight of her. The good shepherd said, "Little sheep, what are you doing? Didn't I tell you to never go across the white fence because of the danger? So why have you gone? Do you not care for your safety?" But the big red sheep spoke up and told the shepherd that he was taking Little Sheep away to see the real world and that he, the shepherd, was holding her back. The shepherd told Little Sheep, "I love you with all my heart, and I have never lost any of the sheep here that my father has given to me. I am asking you to stay, but I'm not going to force you. You see, you have to want to stay here and trust me because I have your best interest at heart. I would never hurt you or hold you back, but I am asking you not to go, little sheep. Little Sheep shook her head sadly and said, I'm sorry, Shepherd, but I must. The big red sheep is my new friend, and he's going to show me the wonders of the world. On that note, Little Sheep and the big red sheep ran off to see the world. The shepherd stared sadly after the two and walked back up the hill to the other little sheep who were confused as to what was going on. The new world. Little Sheep was amazed at all the smells and sights she encountered. Big Red Sheep showed her places where animals went to place bets and were able to win a lot of hay and grain, because you needed hay and grain in order to buy things here in this new world. The more hay and grain you had, the richer you were. Little Sheep saw other sheep and animals on corners making what seemed to be deals of some sort. But when she asked the big red sheep, he just laughed and said, Oh, that's just business. Big Red Sheep took Little Sheep to a lot of big fancy places and introduced her to a lot of important animals. They all seemed to want Little Sheep's attention. It was kind of a wild and crazy experience for her Little Sheep. She was able to stay up as late as she wanted, and she was even able to eat all the sweets and whatever else she wanted. This was all so new. Weeks later, after living wild with a group of new sheep friends she had met when she first got there, a beautiful sheep named Willow asked her, Little sheep, do you have a talent or something that you are good at? Something that you can do to help us pay the bills like the rest of us? Little Sheep said, Well, I can sing pretty well. I used to sing for my shepherd all of the time. So Little Sheep started singing, and she sang so well that all of the other sheep and animals noticed how great she was. She started singing in stables and worked her way up to barns. She became so popular that the animals started to pay her to sing for them.
Little Sheep, can I get your autograph?
Little Sheep became so popular that she started making quite a bit of grain and hay. She was able to buy her own meadow and her own little barn. What Little Sheep did not know is that while she thought she was making a lot of new friends, she was also making a lot of enemies. It seems Willow and all of the other girl sheep and girl animals were becoming jealous of her because they had lived in their city all of their lives and had never reached the fame that Little Sheep had reached in such a short time. The other animals started to make plans on how they would take Little Sheep's home, her land, and all of her grain and hay. One day, they told Little Sheep that a very important sheep wanted her to sing at their Soul's Day party, and they were willing to pay her a lot of hay and grain to do it. Little Sheep was excited, and she said she would do it.
So excited.
Where is the party being held at, Willow? Oh, darling, it is in the barn out by the All About Me lake, said Willow. Wow, that is a dark place, and no one is ever there, said Little Sheep. I know, but it is a big party, so they needed the space. You should be there by 8 p.m., so I guess we'll see you then.
8 p.m.
So Little Sheep went home and took a bath and made herself smell sweet all over. If only the other little sheep and my shepherd could see me now, they would be so proud. Little Sheep got herself ready and started on her way. But when she got there, she saw all of her friends, but there were no lights and no party. What they said made her wool cringe.
Oh
Little Sheep, we lied to get you here. There is no party. We all want you to know just how much we truly hate you and do not want you in our town anymore. You have taken all the best jobs. You have the best home and more grain and hay than any of us. And you probably think you are better than us. Well, we are going to teach you a lesson. Those animals that Little Sheep thought were her friends started to hurt and call her names. The more she begged for them to stop, the more they hurt her. Then they ran away. Poor Little Sheep. She could not understand why all of this was happening in the first place, or why they had done this most terrible thing to her. She had thought that they were her friends. Little Sheep was so hurt and so weak that she could barely move, but she managed to make it all the way home. When she finally reached her house, she saw all of the lights were on. So she crept closer to the window and saw the big red sheep sitting in a chair. Little Sheep was so relieved. She thought to herself, I will go in and tell the big red sheep everything that has happened to me, and he will make it all better. When Little Sheep went inside, she crawled up to where the big red sheep sat and cried, Oh, big red sheep, they were awful to me and hit me and kicked me and called me names. I don't know why. I have never done anything to them ever. I was always their friend, and I thought they were mine too. I don't know what is going on. The big red sheep looked down at Little Sheep with a frown and said, Little Sheep, don't you know that it is against the law to enter into someone else's house unless they invite you in?
What the heck?
Little Sheep looked up confused. What? This is my house. I live here. What are you talking about? Just then, Willow walked in wearing Little Sheep's robe and said, No, Little Sheep, this is my house and all that is in it. All of your grain and hay are mine too. She laughed. So I'm going to ask you nicely to get out of my house. And if you don't, Big Red and I will throw you out. Little Sheep could not believe what was happening to her. Her whole world was crashing down around her in mere moments. She looked at the big red sheep and cried, Big Red Sheep, do something! You are the one who brought me here. I thought you were my friend. Why won't you help me? Why are you just sitting there? The big red sheep laughed and said, Do you really think that I would be a friend to mere little sheep like you?
Well, I thought.
Especially one is so pure and sweet like you? Please, I think it's time I moved on to more, let us say, exciting pastures. As he spoke, his nose fell off.
What?
He tried to grab it,
Oh my.
but as he did, his paw fell off.
Oh my.
Little Sheep was in shock. She started to back away.
No, it's
The whole time all of this was taking place, Willow laughed uncontrollably. Finally, the big red sheep said, Forget it. This is more trouble than it is worth. And then he pulled off all of his sheep's clothing, and underneath was a big, ugly wolf.
in the new world.
Little Sheep was terrified and screamed,
Oh my!
You were never a sheep at all. You were just a wolf in sheep's clothing. Little Sheep turned and ran out of the house as fast as she could, which was not very fast because she was so badly hurt. She could hear Willow and the wolf laughing in the background. Grace. Little Sheep ran so far she lost track of where she was. She came to a ditch and accidentally fell in and slipped all the way down to the bottom. Little Sheep cried and cried. She knew she was lost. Little Sheep just did not care anymore and wanted to die, and had made up her mind to do so. Little Sheep lay there for hours and gave up on life. Just when she would have taken her last breath, the softest and most gentle touch she had felt since she left home brushed her cheek. Little Sheep. Softly and quietly, the voice said again, Little sheep, wake up, my love. I'm here. Little sheep opened her eyes and looked up into the eyes of her shepherd. She was so ashamed that she turned her face. How could her shepherd be here when she had turned her back on him? Shepherd, please leave this place. I am bad.
I'm so mad.
I do not deserve for you to be here. You are so good. You do not know all of the bad things I have done since coming to this place. Please go. You have others and they need you. Forget about me and let me die. The shepherd looked down at Little Sheep with love and kindness on his face. He told her, Little sheep, didn't you know that I would leave all 999 of the others in order to come and get you? Do not worry about the others, because they are just fine. They do miss you though. If you are willing, I would like to take you home. I do not care what you have done. All I know is that you were sick and you were very hurt. I can heal you, and I want to heal you, but you must first accept my help. I cannot force it on you. So if you are willing, may I please take you home? Your brothers and sisters miss you and love you. So do I. Little sheep was so thankful that her shepherd wanted to take her home. Of course, she knew and felt that she was not worthy. But if she had to die, she wanted to be with her family and her shepherd. Shepherd, I am willing if you will have me. I don't know why you would come all this way for someone like me, but I thank you. The New World was terrible. Those animals did not really care about me at all. They just wanted what they could take. The grass was not greener on the other side. It was black. That big red sheep was not my friend. As a matter of fact, he was not even a real sheep at all. He was just a wolf in sheep's clothing.
It was ugly.
Please, shepherd, please take me from this place. I am so sorry. Little sheep cried in desperation. With those words, the shepherd picked Little Sheep up and carried her in his loving arms all the way home. When the shepherd got back to the meadow with the Little Sheep, he took her to his house and placed her in his own bed. There he and Fluffy Sheep
Now
cared for
drink
Little
your tea,
Sheep.
little sheep.
Little Sheep grew stronger day by day and became healthy again. But the shepherd would not let her get up.
Rest
He wanted
just
her
a
to
little
wait
more,
until
little
she was
sheep.
completely healed. Little Sheep watched how her shepherd cared for her, even after all that she had done, and was amazed.
I love you, shepherd.
Her love for her shepherd grew stronger and stronger as the days went on. One day, when the shepherd and Fluffy Sheep were in the room caring for her, Little Sheep asked the shepherd, Shepherd, although I am ever so glad that you have found me in that ditch, how did you? I was lost myself after having fallen in that ditch. How did you ever find me? The good shepherd looked down at Little Sheep and said, Little sheep, a long time ago, I once told you that I have never lost any of the sheep that my father had given to me, and I had no intentions on losing you either. As for your being lost, Little Sheep, I knew where you were all along.
You did?
Fluffy Sheep walked up to Little Sheep, who was lying in bed, and kissed her nose. Little sheep, do not feel bad. A long time ago, I went across the fence to the other side too.
You too?
A lot of bad things happened to me also, and Shepherd was there to rescue me.
You did?
I asked the shepherd to forgive me, and I never went back because I realized that this is where I want to be.
Me too.
Fluffy Sheep looked at her shepherd and said, Remember, shepherd? The shepherd looked confused and shook his head and said, No, Fluffy Sheep, I don't remember that. Fluffy Sheep smiled and winked at Little Sheep. Later, Fluffy Sheep explained to Little Sheep that whenever you asked the shepherd to forgive you, he totally forgot what it was that you had done,
Everything?
and he truly forgave you.
Wow.
She just couldn't figure it out. Stand. One day, long ago, in a beautiful valley with a lovely lake, on a rolling hill, a little sheep stood in the breeze eating her grass. She loved life. She smiled as she breathed in the aroma of fresh flowers in the air. Out of the corner of her eye, a movement caught her attention, and she glanced down the hill to the white fence.
What in that world?
You see, there was a white fence that went all around their land. It was there to keep the little sheep safe. On the other side of the fence was a group of sheep and animals she once knew long ago. The animals were calling her and begging her to come back over the fence to where they were. They told her that things had changed and that they were sorry and that they wanted to be her friend again. Little Sheep looked at them. She then looked behind her to where she could see the lovely lake named Second Chances, where her shepherd along with her brothers and sisters were drinking water. She felt so much love for them all.
Love you, shepherd.
She thought to herself,
I love
there
my
is
Aki
nothing that
and
they
my
can do or
Akayo.
give to me that my shepherd has not already
Nothing
supplied.
that you all can give.
She then turned and walked away without a second glance, back to join those whom she knew loved and cared for her brothers and her sisters, and most importantly, her shepherd. Wow! Isn't that how Yahuwah's love is for us? No matter what we do, if we but humble ourselves and ask for forgiveness, He is not only faithful to forgive us, but He plants it in a sea of forgetfulness. And although we are lost, this great Elohim whom we serve says we can be found. Have you asked Him to forgive you? Have you repented of your sins? If not, why don't you ask Him now? Wow. All right, all praises to the Most High Yah. I want to thank you all for listening in. And I just want to say, wow, thank you, Yahuwah, Bahashem, your son, Yahushua. Without Him, we are nothing. All praises to you, Yah, for all that you do and all that you say. What do we say? Hallelujah and Amen.